Welcome and thanks for joining me this evening. This is Megan Gray for Week 9's assignment. When we talk about the core conditionings in establishing a therapeutic alliance, it is best for the therapist to have a thorough understanding and adoption of empathy, congruence, and unconditional positive regard. These big three develop a frame of reference to form an alliance between the client and the therapist. Without empathy or congruence in thought, you can take a client down a path and they get a little bit scattered. So that is the significance of the core conditions. For the sake of interest in time, I don't want to make this any longer than a couple of minutes. So I'm going to kind of smash this down into a pancake a little bit and just give you the bottom basics, the most important aspects from this course that we've taken so far. So if I discuss my theoretical orientation, that's geared toward a combination of person-centered existentialism. And this approach involves the understanding and the basis of mental health struggles is based upon either their previous experiences, but also focuses on them going forward by staying in the moment. Unlike cognitive behavioral therapy, where you hold them accountability for behavior, this is more person-centered, and it can help individuals who have basic mental health struggles, maybe a few marital problems, other mental health challenges such as maybe behavioral issues that stem from childhood memories and things like that. I think the existential approach is pretty nice because it really guides a client through the process without really being in their face about it. I love cognitive behavioral therapy. I think it's absolutely great, along with the other therapies geared toward accountability or hardcore accountability. Particularly with addiction, CBT works great. However, the existential approach for addictions and maybe some other personality disorders really might not be the right thing to do. But meanwhile, one thing that we must remember, we always should act in the client's best interest. And I'm flexible enough to understand, let's say the person-centered approach isn't the best for the client. I'll always be flexible to go to another method or approach that will help them meet their goals for their therapy or modify what works best for them. Now, previous to this course, my identity was established as a domestic violence counselor, and I've written a few self-help books on the subject. However, also I'm in the process of writing books on awareness, so I've been very lucky to have somewhat of an identity established. However, if I have to do it all over again, and which I am, going forward, I plan on expanding my knowledge in the application of this praxis and advocate areas and interests as a hospice counselor and caregiver. I think it's best for us to get involved. I think it's great for us to network. 6 degrees of separation really is real, and we got to get back through community service and continuing education credits. We should gain those and possibly teach other people what we have learned in this course. And it's an absolute fact, when we don't understand each other, that's where fear or anxiety can occur when counseling individuals with other culture. I know that it seems to be that we have multicultural ourselves to death, but I think it is important to have the conversation about cultural awareness and diversity, and cultural awareness with an open mind will lead me down the path to better serve diverse populations. I think we should steep ourselves in understanding their traditions and their cultures so we don't end up offending a client and become ineffective. So, if we have a client that is not of this world, so to speak, or of our world, or historically what we learn, we need to go deep into that culture to be sure that we don't do any harm. And lastly, when we talk about having unresolved issues, is it possible for a therapist to actually give therapy if they have issues themselves? I think it's important for a therapist to gain some kind of counseling. In fact, some states require counseling for a certain amount of time while students are going through their programs so that they can get themselves fixed before they can go and work with other clients and get inside their heads. So the reciprocity of counseling will always exist. And what I mean by that is that a counselor usually will benefit and learn about themselves while they're working with a client. And as for the future, at this time, I can't say if I have unfinished business with future clients because I'm not there yet. However, I can say from my past when working with clients that I would learn about challenges and then work on myself with fierce intent so I wouldn't get in my own way. I think for the most part, when we want to be aware that we can stumble across ourselves too many times, which will hinder a client's progress. I had a situation where a friend came to me and was sharing some things with a therapist. The therapist actually had asked the client to not talk to her friends about her life. In fact, the therapist had indicated that the client should not ever see those friends again. And she said that she wouldn't work with the client if she didn't do that. And to me, and I don't know if you guys listening to this would say, oh my gosh, this therapist's got control issues. She wants to control outcomes and stuff. I think that we really just have to realize that progress is not perfection, and that we should have our own hyper awareness button on and really intuit ourselves to be a part of our guidance system, to be sure that we take care of our own unfinished business, whether we know it or not, to help people get through their own emotional struggles. I do have a hard and fast rule. I will not allow myself to work with broken marriages. When I was going through divorce, I think that's just kind of, therapist or physician, heal thyself. But we really do have to know ourselves deeply to be sure that we don't do any harm to our clients. Basically, addresses the 5 main points for this assignment, and I'm going to wrap up here with some summary. It's been a pleasure getting to know everybody in this course, and I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you in the future. I hope the glare on this is not too bad, and I'm going to go ahead and upload it. But yeah, overall, the Latin for that is primum non nocere, which means, above all, do no harm. And that's the oath we have to take, for ethical oath we have to take to be sure that we serve our clients best. So know yourselves. Mindfulness is a big portion of this that I didn't get into, and everything starts with ourselves first before we can do this with other people. We could talk about theoretical orientation, we could talk about the facts and the textbook and stuff, but if we don't internalize our own experience and process our own stuff in a manner that's productive, then we're not going to be effective as counselors. So again, thank you for joining us here. Thank you for joining me here, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. So have a great evening. Thank you so much.